Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Stitious Podcast. I'm your host Tash.
And I'm your host Connor.
Welcome. If you are joining us and you are new, this is a podcast where we talk about the weird, suspicious and superstitious things of the world. And if you are coming back as a regular listener, hello, welcome back. And we hope that your luck has changed this week.
So we have an exciting episode for you today on werewolves.
That was really good, right?
That was pretty good.
Am I
Team
a werewolf?
I was gonna
don't say
Team
Team
Jedward.
Jacob.
I was gonna say Jedward. I forgot what his name was.
I'm never Team Jacob.
I'm just gonna say it. Werewolves are better than vampires,
Well,
in my opinion. If it's like, okay, not in his creepy situation where, you know, he looks at a child and then suddenly becomes Drake. But I'm talking about you can just transform into a wolf when you want. No need for the moon.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Plus, it's also the fact that I don't do cold. Like, I don't like the cold.
So imagine touching Edward. It's like a popsicle.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, thank you. I think I would also be werewolf. But we have to do the tradition. Are you a believer or a non-believer when it comes to werewolves?
I'm a non-believer.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't believe...
I don't know why I said that, as if I was going to turn around and be like, I believe.
I was going to say, because you didn't believe in vampires. So if you believed in werewolves, then that makes you more Team Jacob than it does...
No, wait. I didn't believe in like the magical creatures that do all this, but I did think there were actually bloodsuckers out there. That's why I thought, don't misquote me.
So do you think there's, I don't know, an evolutionary wolf that looks more like a human?
No comment.
Ooh.
No, I don't. Well, I don't, but I think I kind of want to. I don't know why. So that's why I'm kind of conflicted. Because in my head, I'm like, no, obviously not, but I wish there was.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I kind of want to believe that there's like shapeshifters,
Yeah.
you know, skinwalkers, I think there's another term people use, but I think that's more general. We'll just be talking about werewolves themselves. I have got a few little other things. I think the idea of werewolves is cool, but it also seems very gruesome.
I always thought if there were werewolves, it would be a very painful process. It wouldn't be the instant change and like everything's fine. It would be
Bruce Banner situation where like bones crack, man. Like it's just agony. Like if you have to go undergo that transformation as a blessing, it's definitely a curse, not a blessing.
Especially when you think of like movie representations of when people transform, it's usually in the beginnings, they don't know that they've done it and they wake up in like strange situations where they're covered in blood or their clothes are ripped in the middle of nowhere and they're like, what happened? And then later find out like, oh, I transform into this ginormous wolf-like creature that goes around like attacking people.
See, apparently more early day like movie representations, they weren't gruesome. It was more like they changed and it would just be more like patches of fur. You never heard like screaming pain.
I've seen the clip where it's like really bad.
Oh,
like, yeah, and it's just patches of...
It just starts appearing.
Appears on him. Shall we dive into the research?
For those of you who don't know what a werewolf is, where you been? What you doing?
Where you been? I see what you did there.
That was unintentional, but it works out nicely, doesn't it?
Pun king or pumpkin.
So a werewolf is a person who turns into a wolf at night and devours animals, peoples, or corpses, but returns to human form by day.
Hang on. So by that definition, does that technically mean that the werewolves in Twilight, yes, I'm talking about Twilight again, get over it, are not werewolves because they can turn into wolves by day too?
No, that's just one definition.
Okay.
Because there's also people that can turn into werewolves during the day. They're not actually werewolves. It's weird. So they use special items to turn into wolves.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get onto them.
Yeah.
So some werewolves change shape at will. Others in whom the condition is hereditary or acquired by having been bitten by a wolf change shape involuntary under the influence of a full moon or when monk's shade or wolf's bane is in bloom. So wolf's blood and monk's hud are both poisons.
Speaking of wolf blood, there was a show called Wolf Blood. No, it's just because you said wolf's bane.
Yeah.
And she's a wolf blood. Maddie, she takes medication that her friend gives her because she has a headache. And inside it is wolf's bane, but obviously she didn't know. It was sort of like natural herbal medicine that her mum had made. And she's like, oh, here you go. And she's like, thanks. She takes it. But obviously because she's an actual wolf blood, it kind of starts messing messing with her a little bit and like starts slowly making her wolf side come out, even though it's not a full moon. So it forces her to transform.
That's very weird because wolfsbane, super poisonous.
Is it?
Super poisonous. I've been
Wait, is it actually?
Yeah, to humans
What, to
as well.
humans? Oh, because in the show, the other kid who's also a wolf blood, Ridian, he does research and he's like, oh, wolfsbane, you know, usually it's quite harmless to humans, like it's just put in some medicines, but obviously if you're a werewolf, it can force you to transform, and it's like a whole big thing.
Yep, it's 100% poisonous to humans.
Okay, BBC. Are you okay? Unless I'm just remembering this wrong, in which case I take back what I just said, BBC. I love
She
it.
goes, oh, nice starter. Where's
the main course?
I think that's because there was no moon. It was a no moon day.
No. She takes medication. I know that because she has an argument with Ridian in the bathroom, and then he's like, what are you doing? Because she starts like transforming because her veins go black when she starts transforming and her eyes go yellow. And he's like, what are you doing? There's humans in the house. They're going to see you. And she goes, I'm not doing this. And then he's like, what? And she's like, I'm not doing this, and starts panicking.
All parts of the plant are poisonous.
Do not
Toxic to
eat.
humans. 2 milligram dose of it can cause death within 4 hours. Yeah, it's not an Austin and Ally situation with the bear where the kid like heard them say, you should just lie down and do nothing.
This one could have actually gone out and taken a few kids out. At least I think I'm remembering it correctly. I did watch it as a child. Don't eat wolfsbane. It's not good medicine.
Nope.
It's not medicine at all.
So if a werewolf is injured in wolf form, the wounds will show in his human form and may lead to his detection. Belief in werewolves is found throughout the world. The psychiatric condition in which a person believes he is a wolf is called lycanthropy.
Have you seen the boy who thought that he was a werewolf?
No?
Oh my God. Kind of became a meme like a while ago.
I remember the person that thought he was a vampire.
Is that the person who was on the Tyra show? The one who was like, oh yes, I'm a vampire. I can lift. And then Tyra is like all excited about
familiar.
it.
Yeah.
Why was she so gassed in that?
Because she was discovering the first vampire to come through.
It's a mental illness if you believe you're a werewolf.
Yeah. And there's an actual term for it. So I'm guessing a lot of people out there thought they might have been werewolves.
Not me running through the woods when I was a kid, pretending to be a werewolf. Oh my goodness.
How do you become a wolf's blood?
You're born as a wolf blood.
Oh, that's it. You can't get bit or anything.
No.
Shame.
Yeah, it's a blood thing.
For those of you out there who want to become werewolves, it's pretty easy. You just get bit by a werewolf.
See, I find that insane. As a child, I obviously believed in werewolves and vampires. I believed in everything as a child, right? I remember when I found out that you had to get bit in order to become a werewolf, or scratched. That was another one.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's impossible for me to not become a werewolf because the amount of dogs that have bit me in my life, I just want to put that out there.
Oh my God. How many?
Maybe like 3 or 4.
That's way too many.
Yeah.
You've been around bad dogs.
Yeah, I have been around bad dogs. But anyway, that's not the point right now. The point is, I thought to myself, if the dog biting is any indication, I'm going to get bit by a wolf. I'm so glad I don't live in an area where there are werewolves. Otherwise, I would be gone. I don't know why, but that terrified me so much. And I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's essentially the same as a zombie.
Yeah.
You get bit, get scratched, you become a zombie.
Although zombies not as scary as werewolves. I said what I said.
Yeah, because they're
Herd
slow
of
as hell.
zombies or a herd of werewolves.
Yeah, that's another thing that you never actually see on TV. You never see like a pack of werewolves. It's always like the one singular one that's off on his own, the loner. I've never seen like a pack of werewolves other than...
You have not watched Twilight then, I'm afraid.
Yes, other than Twilight.
Okay.
But I feel like they could do it more horror.
Yeah.
It's always the
With
one
packs.
werewolf chasing you. But imagine like a pack, because a wolf travels in a pack.
That's a good point. Maybe it's just some that we haven't seen. If anyone has any recommendations of pack, wolf, horror type representation, holler at us. Let us know because we want to watch it.
Because I've only seen a little bit of the teen wolf. And I guess they travel in a pack kind of together.
Yeah. Well, have you not seen the episode where 2 of them attack? That's the most I've seen, but I've not seen all of it. It's 2 of them at the same time. That was about it.
Vaguely remember something like that.
Never forget the Teen Wolf run of him
God.
like running on all fours.
Have you seen the dude that does it outside his house?
Yeah.
I actually kind of respect that. He's actually getting muscles.
I mean, of course, if you're walking on all fours all the time, yeah, you're going to get muscles. The question is, why?
He does it like full Teen Wolf style. It just looks cool. Like he literally just starts running and then drops, and it's so funny. Imagine like you
it's
go
funny,
to rob
but
his house and he starts
imagine-
chasing you off.
I'm not even thinking about robbing him. I'm thinking, imagine you move into this nice, kind neighborhood and you're like, oh, let me just keep checking on my neighbors, you know, just to make sure that everyone's okay. Timmy, go give them this plate of cookies. Timmy's like, okay, mom. And then Timmy just sees someone running and he's like, oh, they're coming to get the cookies. And then they get on all fours. Timmy's like, what is going on in this neighborhood?
Yeah, I think I would generally think he's a werewolf. If you like just moved in, you see him doing it like so well as well. You didn't even know he's been practicing. Who would think he has been practicing?
Imagine at a party and someone's like, I know a party trick. And that's what they pull out with. I would be so scared. I would leave immediately. I'd be like, thanks for having me, but that's enough for me. I'm going to go now.
I wonder if he's faster than Usain Bolt. Is it fast? Like,
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, is it actually faster? It looks faster because it's a bit weird, but is it fast? Put that sport in the Olympics.
I was just thinking that we should start the petition. So becoming a werewolf is very different depending on the type of werewolf you become, because some are forms of punishment, some are through genetics, hereditary. So like if you had a kid and you've got it, the kid becomes it. Then some are curses.
What is the type? You said depending on the type. Do you just mean like the type of wolf?
Yeah, so if it's like a curse, sometimes the transformation can be permanent and you're stuck as a werewolf. Others you can change when you want. Then there's the ones where you have to change on the full moon, or you only change when it's the full moon. Then in one story, the man becomes a werewolf for a number of years, usually 7 or 9. And then after that, he's better.
That's a long time though to be like 7 or 9.
Well, it is supposed to be a punishment.
Yeah. So which one would you rather have? Probably not punishment, but like, would you rather be born with the ability to like transform into a werewolf or get bit?
I think inherited, because then your parents would know and you know like some of the tricks and stuff. I feel like if I was just bit, I'd feel like I was going insane, or maybe I had rabies or something. Because
Same.
I just wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't believe it at all. So with the werewolf lore as becoming a werewolf as a source of power, there are stories of becoming a werewolf through, like I said, articles of clothing, like a belt or straps that allow the wearer to become a wolf.
How does that work exactly? Is it just you touch the item or you wear the item and you transform, or can you control it? And then be like, since I'm wearing this belt, if I want to, I can turn into a wolf.
Yeah, there's like different ones where you have to wear it. But I think there's some where you instantly become it when you put it on, and then there's some where you get to choose. But this one in particular, apparently it's magical in other ways. So once you put it on, you become a wolf. And there are a number of perks, including a pantry stocked with chickens and wild game. So you just always got food.
Are they cooked chickens or is it just...
Does not specify, but I'm guessing no. Because if it's back in the olden days, you'd want it alive.
Damn. I guess, oh my God, werewolves would probably just eat it.
Yeah.
Uncooked.
Because they like the blood as well. They like the heat from the kill.
Nasty. Gross.
Blame werewolves and, cannibals.
Yeah.
Yeah, in several German versions of the story, the belt is made from a skin of a wolf. If the belt is destroyed, the ability to transform disappears too. In depiction like these, the transformation from human to wolf is voluntary. It doesn't depend on the phase of the moon. A man can change from human to wolf and back whenever he likes, as long as he has the right clothing. So yeah, if you take the belt from him when he's in wolf form, he'd be stuck as a wolf.
That's a bad game, because you can't be a wolf wearing a belt.
I mean, you're not wrong. I feel like it'd be very strange if a werewolf came up to me and was like, sup?
You're going to have to leave it somewhere, and the probability of someone coming to take it increases the moment you're not watching it. So it's like, what's the point?
This one gets a bit weird. So to become a werewolf in this story, the person has to have clothes on. So I don't know if he's always been a werewolf and by putting clothes on, he becomes human, or which way. But basically, in this tale, he goes to this pond to, wash. So he takes his clothes off and then urinates around them or on them, and they turn to stone so that no one else can move them. Yeah, very weird. I don't know why peeing on them would turn them to stone. Is this an ability that we didn't know werewolves
Yeah, that's kind of a weird ability, because what if it just pees on you accidentally?
You turn him, it's like a Medusa situation. You
That's
turn
it.
to
That's
stone.
it for you. That's so bizarre. Why does it say? It's just Random
It
ability.
really didn't. There's another story where it's like in a Breton lie called Is Clevert, a werewolf's adulterous wife steals his clothes, keeping him from becoming human. The next time the werewolf sees her, he bites off her nose.
Got your nose.
I would too. If you stop me turning back into a human because you stole
Yeah.
my clothes, just because you want to slip around,
I
not
mean,
cool.
I'm not gonna lie, it would be really funny to steal the clothing item. I'm sorry, it would be hilarious. I think at the time I would find it really funny. I'd be like, I took your clothes.
Maybe with time, yeah, he'd be like, that was
That was
kind
a
of
bit funny.
And then he'd be like, remember that time I bit your nose off?
For like a day, well, not a day, but for a couple of hours, just watching a wolf looking for clothes is kind of funny. The visual, it's like, I knew I left it here somewhere. But then surely it would be able to find you really easily because it can just follow the scent of whoever took it. So
His own smell plus his wife's, which
yeah.
I'm guessing you would know pretty well. Plus, bitch, I know where you live, my house.
Exactly. So it'd be like, where's my clothes? I mean, the wolf can't talk, so it'd just be like,
Okay, Scooby-Doo. Yeah, and also, according to folktales, in certain parts of the world, werewolves recruit new members from excess children. Children who are born with a cowl,
a cow.
or with part of the amniotic sac covering their face may be more susceptible to becoming werewolves or conversely healers.
How do they know that they're going to become werewolves? Are they just lurking near hospitals? Werewolves are sus, man.
But just more likely. I guess they
Okay.
can smell it. You know, you'd be like, were you born with a amniotic sac on your face? You smell like you did.
I thought you were going to go, a child. We're like, okay.
I mean, people always be sniffing babies' heads. What's
Yeah,
that
because they
about?
smell very specific.
Or are they...
There's dogs barking in the background. I'm sure they're like, stop talking absolute shite. Sniffing the
so-
top of a baby's head is not that weird because it's a unique smell.
Or is it just werewolves trying to find their next prey or their
Next
next
of kin.
buddy?
Next buddy, me and my buddy. That's literally Jacob.
Did he sniff people's heads?
No, he was looking for a little buddy and then fell in love with a baby.
Oh my god.
Anyway, what's the next fun fact?
No. Jacob. We're rooting for you. He's always played an animal as well. Werewolf.
What?
Shark boy.
Werewolf and Shark Boy, 2 instances, and you're like, he always plays an animal.
So stories of men turning into beasts go back to antiquity in parts of ancient Greece. In the epic of Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh refuses to become the lover of the goddess Ishtar because of her cruel treatment of her previous suitor. Ishtar turned one man, a shepherd, into a wolf, making him the enemy of his friends, the sheep, and even his own dogs. Apparently, the shepherd guy, he fell in love with her at first sight, and then eventually she just got bored of him, and then she was like, zap, and turned him into a wolf. And then suddenly he had no friends because his dogs turned against him, and so did his sheep.
That seems like a bit of an extreme thing to do if you don't like someone anymore.
Gods are petty, man. Gods don't want exes. You're just like, yeah, I was
Don't
dating
want
him.
exes.
Then, he turned into a wolf, so I had to let him go.
Poor guy.
Honestly, yeah. I can see why Gilgamesh refused. Good on him. There's another one from Greece. In Ovid's The Metamorphosis, a traveler visits the home of King Lycon of Arcadia. Lycon suspects that the visitor is immortal. I don't know how you can suspect that of someone, but okay.
It's like the anteater thing.
So he devises a test. Of course, What would you do if you thought someone might have been immortal?
Try to kill them.
I know that makes perfect sense. I mean, it doesn't make perfect sense, but it makes perfect sense if you thought he was immortal.
Yeah.
But this dude was like, you know what? Let me serve him human meat.
Ew, why? Why does that, what?
The only weakness to immortality, Tash, is human meat.
Why the hell? Human meat. This feels familiar. It's like going on another rant about human meat. For those of you joining us, listen to the Mermaids episode. Shout outs. But I'm sorry. Why is human meat the end all for immortals? Can you explain, please?
I cannot explain.
No,
There was
I don't accept
explanation.
that answer. I don't accept the answer. In this case, I am shooting the messenger because what the hell? I need an explanation.
Well, it turned out to be the god Zeus, of course. and he immediately recognizes the meat's origin, and he transforms Lycon into a wolf. Lycon's name and the word lycanthropy both come from the same root, the Greek word lykos, meaning wolf.
So my guy was doomed from birth when
He was
his
named after-
parents were like, "I'm gonna call you Wolf Boy." Wolfie, that's a great name for my child. Let's hope one day he doesn't get turned into a wolf. Ha 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 ha.
Aha.
Wait a minute, where did he get human meat from?
I mean, he's the king, he probably just killed someone or, dug up a body.
God. That's so sad. It's the fact that it's like, where did the suspicion come from? Maybe he was like, they wouldn't have had pictures back in them days. So he's not like he saw him in a picture and was like, this picture's pretty old, but you look the same.
Look
He just
exactly
looked at
like
him and he was
Zeus.
like, something about you just seems immortal.
He just had like a sword sticking out of him. He's like, oh, what do you mean? Yeah, this is regular.
Wait, people die from this?
His head's on backwards,
It's like,
It's
what?
completely messed up.
What are you talking about?
Ooh, imagine having immortality, but to the point where,
Human meat is your weakness?
no, you don't heal. So everything, like, no matter what happens to you, you stay alive and you could just be like completely messed up.
Oh, wasn't that in Happy Death Day, where everything she was doing was still
See it happening on
there?
the inside.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like on the outside.
Ooh.
Like, imagine you get stabbed or like your chest
Well, why
blows.
are you constantly picking fights if you know that this is your condition?
I mean, if you live forever, you're going to fight with some people because at one point you're just going to be like, why not?
No, I don't think so. Not if that's your... I feel like the first time you'd be like, oh, wait, I got stabbed and it's not healing, so I should probably not do that again.
You'd think, but humans are stupid.
Humans are dumb.
So many so-called werewolves from centuries ago were in fact serial killers. Yep. And the idea of people being werewolves was a story people created in their head to try and explain why someone was capable of such atrocities.
You know what? I vibe with that because I get it. I feel like I would do the same thing.
Because imagine coming to terms with, because one of the stories I think is cannibalism. So imagine coming across someone eating a human for the first time. You've never heard about it. You just see this. You'd be like, in my head, the only explanation is this dude is cursed or he's some sort of animal.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because, I'd be like, it's got to be some kind of vampire, some kind of weirdness going on. I never would be like, that's just a regular human who's decided, let me eat someone.
Because I've never looked at a human and thought, wonder what you taste like, with some barbecue sauce on.
Don't know why, but the fact that you said with some barbecue sauce on makes me feel like you have thought about it. Like, I don't know, that was a weirdly gross detail to add, and now I'm pretty suspicious, side-eyeing you like, okay.
Cooked in a slow cooker, 300 and
Please stop.
degrees.
Please stop.
A little bit of salt, a little bit
Please,
of pepper.
I'm scared.
Chomp chomp. So many people who were believed to be werewolves were in fact serial killers, and France had its fair share. In 1521, Frenchmen Pierre Bergot and Michael Verdun allegedly swore allegiance to the devil and claimed to have an ointment that turned them into wolves. After confessing to brutally murdering several children, they were both burned to death at the stake.
I think that's a fair punishment. That's all I can
is.
say on that.
There's no words. There's literally no
There's
words.
nothing to say to that except
Oh, also, yeah, it was burnt at the stake. Back in the day, they used to think you could only kill werewolves by burning them at the stake. So with one of the guys, apparently they chopped off his head and burnt it separately just to make sure he was dead.
I mean, I guess you got to be thorough,
Gotta kill
And
the
if
bloodlines.
we've learned anything supernatural, chopping out the head, good place to start.
Honestly, yeah, I think that would be my go-to with anything.
Yeah, it's just with anything. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're a werewolf. You've been saying some sus things today.
Well, then, if I come for you, just chop off my head. Honestly.
No, just don't come for me. That's all I ask. I don't want to have to do any of that.
I can't make promises.
No,
can't
no,
keep.
sir. But those are the best kind.
Okay, Andrew Garfield.
Thank you.
Whether Bergot and Verdun were mentally ill or acted under the influence of a hallucinogenic substance or was simply cold-blooded killer is up for debate, but it's likely didn't matter to superstitious Europeans during the 16th century. To them, such a heinous crimes could only be committed by a horrific beast, such as the werewolf.
They killed several children. I have no sympathy.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Either way, you committed a crime.
You did.
You admitted to it.
A major crime.
So an ointment to turn you into a werewolf.
And they took it. I wonder if they burned them with the ointment just in case someone else was to find it.
Oh, I would 100% burn the ointment
Yeah.
straight away. I wouldn't even take any chances.
Oh, yeah.
the devil's work. As I said, back in the day, I used to think they were able to kill werewolves by burning them at the stake, which I'm guessing it did work. Maybe it was the decapitation. Who knows?
Maybe the werewolves are extinct now because of it.
Yeah, there was actually like werewolf trials similar to witch hunt trials.
Wow.
Most people have heard of the witch trials of the 16th century, but less well known are the werewolf hunts that happened in the same time. Common belief was that werewolves turned their skin inside out to return to human form.
Ew.
So one interrogation practice involved cutting and pulling back a person's skin to see if there was fur underneath.
The tests that they do to like see if anyone is anything are always the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. They're always the most like sadistic.
Yeah, it sounds like the people that hunt the people are more like messed up than the people who are the werewolves or the vampires.
Because honestly, what do you mean pull someone's skin back to see fur? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I feel like as soon as they start cutting, I would confess no matter what.
Okay.
Stop that. You know what I am. You got me.
Because either way, you're going to die. It's not like you're going to survive that, are you? This is back in the day. Then. You're dead anyway. So it's like,
There are several notable claims of lycanthropy that took place during these werewolf hunts. In 1603, a young man named Jean Greener claimed responsibility for a series of murders and disappearances, saying that he had skin that let him become a wolf. The court determined that Greener was insane and confined him to a monastery.
The thing is, it's like, I would be there and I'd be like, prove it.
I know what you mean, yeah. A part of me would be curious. I would put him in a cell.
Yeah.
And I would watch behind a door.
Just in case.
Yeah.
It's because like I think this with like what my mum does, because she's a psychiatric nurse, when they're like, oh, there's something behind you. I'm like, what if it's something that they can see that you can't see? You know what I mean? I'm like, because if someone looked at me and was dead serious and was like, there's something behind you, I can see it. It's been following you. Check me in too. Because guess what, honey? I'm freaking out my whole life. I'm immediately like, get the exorcist on the line. It's happening again.
Yeah, I feel like to work in a psychiatric part of a hospital, you have to have some mentally sound mind.
Honestly.
Because, Jesus Christ, I feel like I'd start believing some people sometimes.
Right. I'm like
just
what?
Out of pure fear.
I would be like, what are you seeing? Because I want to hide too. I'm hiding with you. Because what are we running from?
Just suddenly get committed.
Imagine you're just chilling and you're like, oh, okay, what a great day. And you'll see your patient full sprinting towards you, running passes you, and they are screaming. You're telling me you're just going to be like classic patient. Oh, it's
just Jimmy being
just Jimmy, you know, like Jimmy's at it again. Nah, bro. Jimmy's not at it again. Me and Jimmy are both running away safely. We are getting out of there. Because I would just have no explanation. I'll be like, you can explain to me when we're in the car on our way out of there what we're running from.
You're breaking Jimmy out and running.
Me and Jimmy are getting out of there. Psychiatric workers, you're doing great. Nah.
It's like the episode of Supernatural where Sam's in the hospital because, you know, the devil been messing with her mind.
Yeah.
And there's that girl there that is getting haunted by a ghost. What if someone is actually really being haunted by a ghost? And I don't know, they can just see that frequency or that dimension.
And you can't. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or, like someone's ears are tuned into something and then like they're getting the whispers in there.
If someone's scared, I'm scared too. This is why we're where we are, hosting a superstitious podcast instead of out there with the nurses.
Actually, we're in the psychiatric hospital right now. We're like some of the good patients
Don't
and they've
say
given us
that.
a platform.
No, little girl.
In France, between 1520 and 1630, there was more than 30,000 recorded cases of people who claimed to be or appeared to be werewolves.
Appeared to be?
Yeah, so appeared to be would be people who had a condition called hypotrichosis, where, I don't know if you've ever seen it, it's like how you get bearded ladies. It's a genetic disorder linked to the X chromosome and can cause people to grow very thick hair over their faces and bodies. People with this condition can physically resemble werewolves, but it's extremely rare. And it is known to affect 19 people in one family in Mexico due to, you know,
genetics.
Genetics.
Yeah.
Sure. If we're just on the stages of what werewolves look like,
Yeah.
right? By appearances. Apparently, if you had a monobrow, you were a werewolf.
You're honestly starting to get more and more sus by the minute.
Sometimes I get hairy in between my eyebrows.
The way you said that. Sometimes I get
I
hairy
do
in between
not-
my eyebrows.
But I do not have a monobrow. It never fully joins.
I feel like if you let it, it could.
Why would I let it though?
Different beauty standards and all around the world. I've seen people online who fully have it and it's celebrated.
Good for them, but it's not for me. Across France, Denmark, Germany, and Scotland, werewolves were supposedly identified because their eyebrows met in the middle, because they had pointed ears, a long index finger, hairy palms, and because of a lopping way of walking. I don't know what the lopping way of walking is.
I don't know why they had to specify elongated index finger. That just seems a bit random. I've never seen someone's index finger and been like, that's particularly long.
My index fingers are normal size. Just like to put that on there for the quote.
Normal sized. What does that even mean? They're regular sized.
My palms are not particularly hairy. People who had ergot poisoning. Ergot is a fungus that can infest grains like barley and wheat, and eating it can cause hallucinations.
So it seems like there's a trend,
How so?
hallucination wise.
Oh yeah, hallucination-wise, yeah. Though, are they hallucinating to the fact that they're seeing or believing they turn into a werewolf, or hallucinating to the extent that they're attacking and eating people?
Probably they think and they feel like they're a wolf. So then they go and do these things.
I mean, I hope so.
And then they're like, oh my God, I was a wolf.
Oh, and this one, you know, considering you've been bitten 3 times by a dog, you're lucky not to have rabies. Because that would have probably been pretty big back in the day, because no one would know. And you'd just think that dog's evil with like the foam at its mouth or something, possessed by the devil, perhaps. But
Maybe that's what I was going through and everyone thought I was possessed. Rabies. No, I would have died.
You would have died, yeah.
I would have been dead.
So many mammals can carry and transmit rabies, typically through biting, a bit like werewolves. Rabies is fatal without immediate treatment. In its advanced stages, it can cause agitation and hallucinations. A rabies epidemic may have caused wolves and dogs to bite humans, who then could have exhibited werewolf-like tendencies.
That explains it all then, really. It's hallucinations.
Hallucinations.
That plus, if you just happen to be a bit more hairier than average, people will be like, oh, werewolf.
Werewolf trials continued sporadically in the 17th century in Germany, the Netherlands, and Eastern Europe, particularly in isolated rural areas. But it started to die down. And then, weirdly enough, right, there was this man in 1692 in Sweden. He was 80 years old, and apparently he went into the court and was like, you caught me, guys. I'm a werewolf. I've been doing this so that we would have good harvests. So he said he enters into hell 3 times a year to battle witches and devils and ensure a good harvest.
What did they do to him?
He was left out of court, and then later he was convicted of practicing folk magic, sentenced to flogging, and banished for life.
Oh my God. Did they have a good harvest after he was gone?
I don't know.
That's what I want to know.
I did try and search if they did, but I couldn't find
It would be
anything
funny
that
if it's like,
suggested it.
that was our last good harvest.
But it's the fact that he came in, you know, he said his truth. Oh yeah, I am a werewolf. Been fighting some devils and some witches every 3 years to get a good harvest. And then they're like, oh, you're so funny. And then later they're like, yo, have you been practicing magic, mate? Imagine being like, yeah, I came and told you this. Nah, you didn't. Nah, you didn't. Get him.
I like to think while everyone was laughing, one person was just there like, my suspicions about Dave were right all along. This is my chance to get him.
He is an anteater.
Confirmed. I offered him some goat smoke with a side of ants and he didn't question it at all. I knew it. It's been confirmed.
Sweden. What are you doing, man? Oh, it's nice to know the Swedes have a little flaw. I mean, that's the one thing I've ever heard Sweden.
I mean, it was just flogging and banishment. Meanwhile, other people were chopping off heads and burning people at the stake. So, you know.
You're right. That's actually,
so I would say that's like a win for Sweden.
You know what? You did good, Sweden. So another notable werewolf is Peter Stube, Stubbe. So in 1589, a man known as Stub Peter or Peter Stub was executed near Germany, Cologne, for cannibalism and multiple murders. He claimed the devil gave him a belt that allowed him to become a werewolf. Stube claimed to have killed at least 12 people over 25 years, though his confession was made under difficult circumstances. So after prolonged torture, including chunks of his flesh being ripped out with heated pincers and his limbs being crushed with stones, he was finally decapitated on Halloween 1589 and his headless body burnt at the stake.
Oh, German.
I mean, I generally hope he had killed people over the span of 25 years. Not that I wanted him to be getting away with murder for that long. At least it would justify the brutal death that he had, you know. But what if he was actually like a carnivorous werewolf that could change anytime he wanted and he was constantly trying to change? So imagine you've got a human tied up, right? And it's like constantly trying to change into the wolf and it's like, very scary.
Very scary. I mean, just take the belt off. Why are you looking at me like that?
Sus.
Whoa!
What are you, some kind of witch?
Whoa!
You know how
I
to
wish
read?
you could see. I wish you could see the look. The look you just gave me was literally like, sus. I'm just smart. Don't call me a witch.
No, they probably did take it off. But just imagining that vision, it seemed pretty cool. And I wanted that to be... But whatever. I guess they just took off the belt. You know what? I get why people called people witches now. I felt it. In that moment,
did.
I felt
you
powerful.
You really did. You were like, you're about to call the homies. Like, bring your torches.
Yes.
No.
Witch.
No. I'll just accuse you of being a werewolf. If I'm going down, you're going down with me, sonny boy.
So Jean Greener in 1603 claimed responsibility for a series of murders and disappearances, saying he had a skin that turned him into a wolf. He was declared insane and confined to a monastery, the safest place for him. Because a monastery is religious. I wonder if it has any effect on them, like vampires, you know, when they step into a church or something and they burn. Is there any equivalent for werewolves?
Not that I'm aware. Not that I've heard.
Yeah, because only silver really affects them, plus the poison.
Yeah.
But another reason why the condition of lycanthropy could exist and why the full moon would affect them is that, I mean, if you've watched any hospital drama, any firefighter show, or any police show, they always say when the full moon comes out, people get crazy. And Australia did a study to find this out. So according to a study conducted at Australia's Cavalry Mater Newcastle's hospital, a full moon brings out the beast in many humans. The study found that of the 91 violent acute behavior incidents at the hospital between August 2008 and July 2009, 23% happened during a full moon. Patients attacked staff and displayed wolf-like behaviors such as biting, spitting, and scratching. Although many were under the influences of drugs or alcohol at the time, it's unclear why they became intensely violent when the full moon was out.
I mean, I heard like a really great quote. I don't remember where it was from, but they were like, if the moon is powerful enough to affect our oceans, then what makes us think that it's not powerful enough to affect humans, like the human mind? Which I kind of agree. I think that it has an effect on us. I don't know why.
I mean, we're 80% water. Could that have anything to do with maybe there's like the way that, I don't know, we're vibrating inside or something?
I don't know, maybe. I have no idea why. So I would not be surprised if it just made everyone go a bit feral.
Because you can't even say like, oh, because, you know, during like a blackout, people get more violent because there's more animosity. Like there's more crime during a blackout because people can't see people's faces, you know, they're hidden. But a full moon, it gets pretty bright out. Like it's not insanely dark. At least there's more light than, let's say, crescent moon or something.
Yeah. I don't know what the science is. You need to do like a proper study on it.
Plus, the idea of the full moon only actually came because of a movie, a film called Werewolf of London. So the idea of being turned during a full moon and turning into a werewolf by bite were popularized by that movie, Werewolf of London. The same for silver being the only way to kill them. That was from the film The Wolfman.
Wow. So it could be completely false.
Yeah, you could well, apparently you can kill werewolves by just burning them at the stake.
I mean, hey, it works.
When in doubt, burn them at the stake.
Yeah. For some of us, it's a bit hard to get silver.
That's true, yeah. It's become, maybe that's why there's so many werewolves. More werewolves have come into power. They're, you know, the 1%. They hiked up the price of silver. Some experts suggest the stories of werewolves provide a metaphor for understanding the changes that occur in puberty, particularly in men. They could even say they're a metaphor for toxic masculinity, sexual predation, obnoxious aggression, and too much body hair and poor table manners.
Damn.
So everyone's got their own version of a werewolf, kind of. So werewolves by like the region of where they're from. So let's say in America, they have wolves pretty much everywhere. In Africa, there's not really wolves. So there's people that get turned into hyenas or crocodiles.
Crocodiles.
Yep. In Chinese folktales, people become tigers. In Japanese, they become foxes. In some Russian stories, people turn into bears.
That's so much scarier than a wolf. I mean, maybe my knowledge on wolves isn't that crazy, but like, I have a crazy fear of crocodiles.
Crocodiles are prehistoric. They'll fuck you up.
So I would rather try my luck with the wolf than a crocodile. I'm okay. You
I
know?
think the one that I wouldn't say I could take it, but if I had to fight one, it'd be the fox. Small.
Yeah, fox or hyena.
I don't know. I don't know too much about hyenas, but I
I
feel
know
like
they're
they mess you
vicious,
up.
but
They're more
we've
predatory.
got bears, crocodiles, tigers,
yeah.
wolves, you know?
Yeah, so in Ghana, Africa, they have something called a were-hyena, which are human creatures who transformed into bloodthirsty cannibalistic monsters that snuck up on people and tricked them out of the safety of their homes before devouring them. It is reported that the Ultungin, which they are called in Ghana, had the odor of rotting flesh. They were either human who took the privilege of the darkness of the night to embrace their other form, or hyenas that were able to disguise as humans when they felt like it.
That's kind of scary sounding.
Yeah, that's actually, I mean, I saw a picture of it. It looks like what you would imagine a werewolf looks like the one from Harry Potter, but hyena style.
I've heard of were hyenas.
You have?
I have, yeah. I don't know where, but it's somewhere.
It's always in the back of your mind. Fear, danger, it's everywhere.
Fear.
In Iberian Peninsula, the Lucian, also known as Al Lobifon or Lobifon, is the South American werewolf. The myth of the Lucian mainly prevails in Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay. It stems from the Portuguese belief that the seventh son of a family of all boys would turn into a Lucian on the night of a full moon, especially if it fell on a Friday. The myth is especially prevalent in Argentina. Even the president, Juan Domingo Perón, strongly believes in the myth.
At least the El Presidente would be really, really ready.
That's true.
You know, you want a president who's like that a little bit.
Didn't you have like a uncle or a cousin that had like 4 or 5 daughters?
Like 6.
6 daughters in a row.
Well, yeah. Like he has 6 kids and they're all girls.
'Cause I was just
Probably
thinking-
more now, to be honest.
Yeah, because I was just thinking 7 boys.
Yeah.
Maybe it carries on once they have kids. So if like say we had kids and we had like 4 boys, and then one of our boys had 3 more boys, that third boy.
No, they said in a row. People have had only boys or only girls. Like I said, one of my uncles has only boys and one of my other uncles has only girls.
So strange. It's a very particular number, 7.
Yeah, happens.
Norway and Iceland. So such stories are common in several northern European countries, including Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands. In a 13th century Icelandic worker, the Volsunga saga is about a father and son. While wandering in the woods, Sigmund and his son came upon a hunt where they found 2 spellbound wolf pellets. If put on either pelt, will turn a man into a wolf, and the person will possess the power, cunningness, and valor of wolves. But once on, the pelt can only be removed on the 10th day. Having put on the pelt, Sigmund and Sinfjolti turned into wolves and began wandering about the forest together. Before they split up, they agreed to howl to each other if either of them encountered 7 men to fight at a time.
That's mad specific.
That is mad specific. But apparently the son, Sinfjolti, breaches the agreement and kills 11 men at one time. Angered, Sigmund fatally injures his son, but then a raven, the messenger of Odin, brings a healing leaf to place on Jafalti's wound. After Jafalti becomes healed from the injury, he and his father take off the enchanted wolf pelts. As the 10th day arrived, they burned the pelts to ashes and freed themselves from the curse of lycanthropy.
But they put it on.
They put it on, but on the 10th day, they're allowed to take it off.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you can't be like, oh, wow, we got rid of the curse when you put it on. Like,
I'm cured.
this is the thing. Like, what do you mean? Like, no one forced you to do this. You did this to yourselves.
That is very true. That's like buying a gun, shooting people, and being like, huh, I'm just killed some people.
Glad I got rid of this gun. Not getting rid of it and being like, "Whew, thank God I don't have to carry this gun around anymore," and be like, you bought the gun. Like, no one asked you to do that.
The only thing that's been stopping me from killing people is not having the gun. Thank God.
Literally, it's like, what are you talking about? They still killed people, so I don't know what they're so relieved about.
He killed 11 men at once.
And the fact that the dad was like, I'm gonna mess you up.
Yeah, he
It
killed
means
his son,
they
pretty much.
know that like it's wrong. They're aware that what they're doing is wrong, at least.
You know, I generally thought it was going to be to fight wolves. So, you know, you become a wolf to fight the wolves. But no, it's just to attack some humans again.
Why would you also be going and like fighting unnecessary wolves?
Oh, no, like I thought it might have been wolves that, you know, attacking their village, attacking their
Right.
cattle or, you know,
No,
their
they
livestock.
turned into the wolves that were attacking their village.
They were the enemies.
And then they were like, ooh, probably ran back to the village like, these wolves were randomly killing these men.
Actually, we killed these wolves that killed like a bunch of people.
You know, don't go looking. We've burned the wolves already. Like, what?
In Mexico, werewolves in Mexico are known as the Nahul or Najul. Both are pronounced Narwhal. Should have just carried on reading, shouldn't you? Sometimes it comes after.
Najul?
So werewolves in Mexico are known as the Narwhal. The belief in Mexican wolfism or Nahualism varies from region to region. Mesoamerican Indians believe that the Nahual is a guardian spirit that resides in an animal such as deer, jaguar, eagle, bobcat, mountain lion, and so on. In other regions, a more ominous version of Nahual, it is believed that powerful men can transform themselves into an animal to cause harm.
It's never to protect.
I know. It's more of a curse, isn't it? It's more, I feel like you become the wolf and you just start attacking people.
Yeah.
Is there any fun depictions in media of werewolves that you've seen? I mean,
Fun.
well, ones that you liked.
I like wolf blood because they're not werewolves, they're wolves, like regular wolves. I like the fact that in Twilight, they're essentially dire wolves.
I thought dire wolves were like fake for the longest time, but they actually existed.
Yeah. I think if I could turn into a wolf, that's the wolf I'd want to turn into. And if I could have a pet, like that's the pet I would want to have.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like in Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones,
They're
yeah.
huge.
I like that depiction. I also like the Black Mirror episode where the celebrity is actually turning into a wolf.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was pretty good, actually. That was really
I like
good.
that.
It was like a weird plot twist horror.
Yeah, because she kept seeing her as human because I guess she had been bit, she had been scratched. So, you know, instinctively, that's what she sees.
Yeah.
Rather than seeing a wolf.
It's crazy. I'm trying to think what else I've seen that has depictions of
But like when you
werewolves.
picture a werewolf, right? How are you picturing them? Because I kind of prefer, like, if I wanted to see a werewolf or become one, do you know the one in Werewolf by Night where he's standing, but it's more he's a hench version of himself with like the hair? Because at least your bones won't crack as much when
Yeah.
you see that. You're just getting the hair and you're getting extra muscle.
Yeah, you grow muscle rather than...
I'd prefer to be turning into that one. And I also prefer that one, like seeing that one. I don't know why. Rather than the Harry Potter one where...
So scrawny and
It's like a little skinny boy.
Yeah. But then that's just, maybe that's the most realistic out of it because he was a skinny boy.
True.
So it's just hairier and more animal-like, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. The idea of being a werewolf is just disgusting sounding. Like, I know I was like, oh my God, I would rather be a werewolf than a vampire because at least I'm not cold. I was thinking about the Twilight version, Let the Record Show. If it's any other version, I don't want it, apart from wolf blood, because they get to keep all the clothes on and they just change into a wolf and then they have their clothes back on. But the like bone cracking, all of that nonsense.
Yeah.
No.
Because I feel like you'd constantly be feeling your bones like scraping together after that. Like, no way you've got healthy bones.
Yeah.
You need to be like going to the chiropractor every day.
Every day. And the killings, lest we forget.
Yeah, but then, you know. that's just a
No,
bit-
sus. That's strike 3.
There's also Teen Wolf, the movie, which I don't know if you've ever seen it. I can't
I've
remember
never seen
it,
the
right?
movie.
But everyone just starts to be cool with the fact that there's a teen wolf at the school and he's playing basketball on the team. And he's just doing like slam dunks and like flips and shit.
Is this not How I Met Your Mother?
No. That's where it came from.
Is it actually?
Yeah. So there's a movie with Michael J. Fox, and he's got like, spoiler alert, he becomes a werewolf because his dad's a werewolf. I don't know if any part of his family is. Like he's freaking out in the bathroom, and then he starts changing into it, and he like opens the door and it's like, oh my God, my dad's one too. But then he just starts regularly playing on the basketball team as a werewolf. And he's like does these like flips and like slam dunks and he goes, "Ooh." It's wild. It's like, yeah, we're gonna watch it.
We're gonna watch it. Yeah, we're gonna watch it because I'm like, what is happening? Oh my goodness.
These are the type of movies that I've missed where it's like ridiculously like fun films.
Yeah, have you changed your mind? Are you still a non-believer?
I'm still a non-believer.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to be one, wouldn't want to see one, wouldn't want to be anywhere near anything like that ever.
I agree with that. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Stitches podcast where we talked about werewolves.
Let us know if there's any topics you would like us to talk about.
We'll also be doing Stitches Short where we'll be talking about things that are not necessarily long enough to fill up an episode. For example, we might dive into why the full moon affects people. That might be an interesting one, and if it affects us.
And we'll catch you in 2 weeks' time.